All right, let's go through today's exercises. So start with seated position. You can either be seated in a chair or on the floor, whatever you find most comfortable. So we're starting with some neck mobility. So you'll start with going ear to shoulder and then gently and slowly rounding forward and over to the other side. And then just switching directions, going within whatever range is comfortable and available. And going through, say, 6 to 8 of these each direction, getting that nice mobility through the neck. And then we'll go through neck or shoulder circles, so breathing in as you bring your shoulders up and breathing out as you bring your shoulders down. And again, this continuous range of motion, great for waking up in the morning or either taking a little bit of a movement break in your workday. Again, breathing in as you come up and then breathing out as you wrap back and around. So neck circles, shoulder circles, and then going through some shoulder mobility overhead. So there's actually two options with this. The one we went over, you can go through reaching up and then coming back down. Notice as I'm coming down, my palms face in and then they kind of rotate towards the sky as I move overhead. The other option, if you prefer, is thumb facing up, and then as you reach overhead, rotate the palm out and wrapping all the way back. So this one might be a little bit more specific for swimming and getting that full joint articulation. But again, listen to what feels good to start with. Again, inhale as you come up and exhale as you wrap back and down. And then if you're doing the single arm one, I would still do it on either side, even if there is one side that feels a little bit more sore than the other. And then we'll and then we'll go through the shoulder exercise as well. So starting with your elbows at 90 degrees, we have the band in your palm, choosing a band that's lighter resistance to start. And then exhale as you bring your arm or your hands further apart, and inhale as you come together. So if you come from the side, rotating out and together. And again, starting with say 6 to 8 of those and switching or giving yourself a little bit of a rest. The next one, so we talked about progressing that TVA, transverse abdominis activation. So laying on your back, if you choose here, you might lift both your legs up to 90 degrees, activate through that transverse abdominis, and then slowly lower one leg down and lifting that leg up, and then alternating sides. If you choose this option, then just going as low as what feels comfortable and noticing if that back starts peeling off the ground or arching, then you just want to go down, maybe not so low. So you could go half the way down and then coming up and just alternating one side and then the other. And then the next one we did were the glute bridges. So we're just planting our feet and our knees hip width distance apart. Notice that the spine is long here, engaging the glutes first. So squeeze the glutes a bit, and then as you start to continue engaging, start to lift the hips up towards the ceiling, and then slow control down, lowering your hips back towards the ground. I did mention maybe here putting a little bit of an activation through the low belly, so a bit of that like transverse activation as you squeeze the glutes and lift up, and then slow and control, lowering back down. You might even do a little bit of a knee to chest here if that's comfortable for you. Or maybe just rest your feet back on the ground when you're done. And then we went over the bird dog. So knees under your hips, hands under your shoulders, finding a nice flat spine. So imagine your spine is laying on the ground. And the key here is trying to keep that flat spine as you extend your opposite arm and leg. So extending one leg and then the opposite arm. I don't care how high you lift. Oftentimes what I see with this, when people try to arch and then they start arching through the lower back. So try to keep that low back flat, even if it means not extending the whole way. And then coming back down and switching sides, alternating opposite arm and leg. whole while. Again, we're trying to keep that active pressing of the floor away. Really good for the shoulder as well as the lower back. And then the other thing too is if you find that you're really wobbly here, you could always keep your toe or your finger on the ground. So it's just like as if you were to lift up as a starting point. And then we talked about maybe going into your child's pose. So if you would like to try it, I like doing it toes together, knees apart, sitting your hips to your heels, and then gently rounding forward, allowing your forehead to melt on the ground. So if your spine tends to like that little bit of flexion, so like with the cow or the cat pose, then this is a really nice one, but a little bit more restful. So if it's comfortable, to stay there for 30 seconds to a minute or even longer if it's giving you relief. Or again, there's lots of other options if that's not feeling comfortable.